Looks good. Yeah, I like it.
I like it. There we go.
I like your T-shirt too.
You like that?
Good look. Game on.
I think people are going to want this shirt.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Listen, that's part of the fun about this. No introduction needed, right? Brent, Martineau, Austen Lane, Brent and Austen Show, the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. Tony Boselli, the EVP of the Jacksonville Jaguars, calm as a cucumber, as my mom used to say. Right? Cool as the other side of the pillow. Like,
well, if you do the work. I think Austin and I were talking about MMA.
Yeah.
Hey, you do the work. Once you get into the ring, it's just go to work.
There is something to that, right? But is that a reality? Because, like, I didn't believe you when you told me. I was like, come on, man. I mean, you got to be anxious. It's a different seat. You're in a different seat. Liam Cohen's in a different seat. James Gladstone's in a different seat. There's no, like, anxiety about this?
No, I mean, there's no – I mean, is there anxiety because of the unknown? Sure, but that's all of life. I mean, but as far as – we put the work in and have the utmost confidence in James. And his leadership through the whole process has been outstanding. Obviously, we've been on the field the last week with Liam and the coaching staff. That's been great. And so we put a lot of work in, a lot of study, and our scouts have done a great job. And we feel like we had a good plan, and we're excited for the night, and we'll see where kind of the chips fall. We sit at number 5. We don't control what happens before us. And so we'll sit back, but we're ready for it.
I've heard you really have put a lot of work in. And when people say a lot of work, I'm talking like for a month, just wall-to-wall type meetings and things like that. Is that really what happens? Can you take us into a little bit of that process now that you're invited into that process?
Yeah, I mean, I think, this started, it was busy from the beginning because we started by hiring a head coach. And then you get into the whole staff. And right up to the eve of the combine, we hired James Gladstone, and so you kind of squish all your free agency in. We got through that. We were happy with that, and then it's heads down on the draft. And the good news is our scouts had done so much work, like every team, throughout the season, gathering information, and then you just start digging in to the players and start looking at it and getting perspectives and getting the coaching staff involved. That's critical. And James ran a great process, and it doesn't feel like work, though. Yeah. I mean, it's fall. You're watching football. I mean, what else you want to be doing? So,
but you've done a lot of mock drafts, too.
There's
a bunch of them.
I will say this. Doing this job now and reading the mock drafts, I'm going to say I laugh a lot.
Yeah, I bet
A lot of chuckles. A lot of chuckles.
I laugh a lot. I can only imagine how much you laugh.
Oh, my goodness. It's but that's part of the fun, and that's the power of the NFL.
Yeah.
And the NFL's done a great job of making this a year-round thing, and there's more excitement, I think, for the draft tonight than anything else going on in sports right now. And that's a pretty cool thing.
Tony, when we talk about working with James Gladstone, like you see him in press conferences, everyone kind of says the same thing. He looks so young. But the way that he comes across in his demeanor, I almost get the sense of he's more of an old-school type of dude in terms of how he approaches this draft, how he approaches players, but he's got like that new-school mentality in terms of communication. Is that kind of on the point there? What would you say about James?
James is a killer.
Yeah.
I mean, he is outstanding at his job. And that's why we hired him.
Yeah.
And it jumped out during the interview process. Shad, Liam, Mark Lamping, myself, everyone involved, that was the guy we wanted. Went through the process. It was clear at the end of the day that he was the right guy for the job. Then you work with them since the combine till now, and you see the skills, the intellect, the ability. I think, Austin, you nailed it. The ability to communicate. I talk about it all the time. He's able to take a lot of different data and synthesize all that and then communicate it in a manner to the right stakeholders. And his leadership's been outstanding. But people ask me what he's like. Well, number one, he's a dude, just a great dude. Yeah. And number two, he's a killer. I mean, don't take him lightly. I don't care if he's 34 or 54 or however old he is. He's dang good at his job.
The system I think I read is called Blackwater now. Like that's the jar system from the Rams. Like this whole process and everything that goes into it. The play call sheet. See, I like that stuff. I like the new phrases. I like the play call sheet stuff. There's a freshness to this. And are we going to hear Blackwater a lot now once this draft is over?
Let's give credit where credit's due. They had developed Blackwater here for over the last two and a half years. And they did a great job. Now we've added to it since James got here. We'll continue to evolve and grow the system. We've hired a new head of analytics, Jake Temmey. So he's on board, and so we're going to keep on growing, evolving. If you're not improving, you're getting worse. Yeah. And we're not going to stay static. So, but give credit. to the people here who've been working on that for the last several years. They did a great job. We walked into a situation, we weren't starting from scratch. Like I said, the scouts had done an outstanding job, a lot of information that was already gathered, and then it was James' leadership of kind of maybe amending the process a little bit. That'll continue to change once we have a full cycle, because we had to do everything really in a condensed manner. But it's been a good process.
Tony, I mean, obviously, you started playing football here in the mid-'90s, but you've been around the game for a long time, and you've seen the progression now of an NFL athlete, of an NFL player, right, in terms of personality and everything. How much has that changed? From, obviously, you've covered it for a long time, but now you're kind of behind the scenes a little bit. You're interviewing these players and everything. Is it as crazy as I think it is? Because, I mean, I played in 2010, and I can't believe how the game has changed now in terms of personality types and everything.
I mean, it's still a physical, violent game.
Yeah.
And you need men who are tough, both mentally and physically, and that love the game of football. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be those are characteristics that will play in any era. Mm-hmm. It's different. And a lot of that's due to how college is now with NIL and the ability to transfer at win. Mm-hmm. Also, man, being in this job, I'm like, I wish I would have had all this, nutrition and the science around how you train and what you do. And these guys are fortunate. But at the end of the day, the guys on this roster, the guys that we're going to be looking at, we want guys who are physically and mentally tough who love football. And obviously you got to be able to be big, strong, run fast, all those things. But you also have to look at what are those, and James talks about those intangibles, being intangibly rich. What is, who are those guys who, there's no other way to say it. And Austen, you know this of being in a locker room. There are guys who just love ball.
Yep, sure.
And there's guys who like it. And we want as many guys as we can on this team that love ball.
Yeah.
Do you look at this weekend and say, man, we got to fix something? I think you guys have a hole at number 2 wide receiver spot. I'm not sure who's next to Brian Thomas Jr. Somebody else might say, hey, need a little more help at defensive interior. Do you guys have some spots? Did you do enough in free agency, or do you have to get some impact guys in these first 90 picks or so that will come in and contribute to replace, I don't want to say gaping holes, but some places where you really think you need to get better by September?
Yeah, we're really happy with what we did in free agency. We'd probably disagree with you. We think De'Ami Brown is a rising star. I think if you look at the back half of last year, what he did, we think he complements BT really well. We think he's having a huge year. So we're excited about that. We're excited about what we did in free agency. We did a lot in the offensive line, getting Jordan Lewis as that nickel corner who also can play outside. Eric Murray, who's a veteran safety, smart, really high football instincts. So we feel like, James talked about this. We raised the floor of the roster. Now it's time to go raise the ceiling. Not going to get into specifics. Don't want to give anything away, but we're happy. We're going to add good football players. The way I look at it, we went into free agency. When free agency was over, we were a better football team. We will be a better football team come Monday after we get through the draft.
Tony, without giving anything away, a guy
please do.
Or if you want to, feel free to as well, man. But a guy like Mason Graham, I can break film down him and say why he's great, some things that he needs to work on and everything. But I always felt like offensive tackle, when you watch the collegiate film, like, you're a guy who knows. You're a Hall of Fame offensive tackle. I'm sure they've been asking you, like, what do you see in these guys? And without giving too much away, once again, unless you want to, but, like, what do you look for in an offensive tackle? Like, what traits, whatever, whether it's traits, whether it's, what you see from the past, like, what do you look for, and what makes a great first-round offensive tackle, maybe what makes a great, 5th, 6th-round offensive tackle?
I mean, I think, like anyone else, you're looking at the physical attributes.
Sure.
But I think you just can't stop there. I mean, let's talk about Will Campbell. Everyone's been talking about he has, shorter arms. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a fact. If you look at kind of what people would like at that position. The flip side is that you turn on the tape, the guy can play football. He played at LSU, played at SEC, he was the top recruit. He was dominating. He has a great play style. So I look at play style and demeanor. Does the guy finish? Mm-hmm. Can he drop his hips and move people? What is he like in space? Does he have that spatial awareness where he's comfortable with his feet when, guys are not attached to you? That also. Some guys are better. Some guys can handle that space and move with an athlete, with another athlete. Some can't. And that's why some tackles need to be moved into guard for other reasons.
Correct.
And so you're looking at the total package. You're also looking at, what's the makeup of the individual. But when I watch tape, I think it's second nature when you talk about offensive line, because you can see how they move. How do they move out of their stance? Can they get to the second level? The whole thing about space, and obviously then you look at physical attributes. Would you like Will Campbell to have his arms be 2 inches longer? Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But the guy can play football.
Yep.
I mean, he's one of the best tackles in this draft for a reason, because he put it on tape. His resume is there, and he can play ball. So you look at the whole picture, but you can't. I think the danger is getting stuck on any one area. Like, this guy has to have this long of arms. He has to be this tall. He has to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at one of the best tackles in football today. It's Slater at the Chargers.
Yeah.
It's like 6'3", 6'4", short arms. Everyone said he couldn't play tackle. You're going to have to move him to guard. Well, he's a Pro Bowl tackle. I think most teams are like, we'll take that guy out there.
Yeah.
And so don't get stuck in any one area.
Don't get stuck in any one area leads me to this. How important is the balance between practicing what you preach, physical, mental toughness? We want to be able to run the ball, right? All these different things that we've heard you guys say over the last couple of months, but also be willing to be nimble to go not get stuck on that kind of stuff and go get yourself a really good football player.
No, I think you gotta be nimble. You gotta be open and malleable to say, hey, we're gonna attack this thing. We have a plan. I don't think you can ever go wrong having a bunch of really good football players on the team. And obviously, there's going to be a play style. I think anyone could watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from an offensive standpoint of how we're going to play and kind of how we're going to approach it. And then you look at defense, where Campanelli's been, whether it's Green Bay or Miami, we're going to have a style of defense. And we do have some targets of guys we like and guys we want to put in those positions. But at the same time, you don't know. Maybe a guy we really love falls to a place that we never thought he'd be there.
Yeah.
And so we're not gonna be stubborn. We're not gonna say, hey, we have to do just this. We're gonna be open. We're gonna kind of take it as it comes. But we have a profile of a guy we're looking for, both from the physical side, the mental side, kind of the makeup, how they play the game, and you're gonna hear this a lot from me. We're gonna go find guys who love ball and love to be on the grass.
Maybe I'll put it on a shirt.
I don't know if it's as good as that. I mean, the one thing James is the master of one-liners.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try to compete with him on the one-liners. He'll have more T-shirts than anybody.
I'm not more in pride in being made.
Well, I'm gonna have to work with him, and we're gonna have to start a little side business. And we're gonna have to trademarks and all these things.
Yeah,
and
you might
try
have to
get something out of it.
Lastly, let you go and appreciate you stopping by. Tony Boselli, Executive Vice President. Really a fun day here in Jacksonville, but an important day here in Jacksonville as well. And really the next couple of days, as I keep saying, tomorrow's a huge day. Round 2, a couple picks in round 3, and then try to find diamonds in the rough.
Well, I'm going to say
Saturday.
something else. Today is critical, and tomorrow's critical. Do not think we think day 3 is just as important.
I bet.
Yeah, I bet.
We have 59 guys on the roster right now, which is the lowest in the NFL.
It is, yeah.
Which
you're
we
right.
are very comfortable with.
Yep.
We're going to go get 10 drafted rookies, and we're going to go find 20 undrafted college free agents, and we're excited about that because that's going to create a competitive atmosphere on that field. And so, while I think the fans and the excitement is about day 1 because it's the first round, and these are guys that everyone knows their names by now.
Yeah.
And that's fun. And this is great. We can't wait for it. Fans out at the Lemon Bar, place is going to be going crazy. And this is what it's about. It's about what happens on the grass, but also people spend money to be entertained, to go watch games and have a good time. So, which I think is fun. But don't discount the work that has been done for tomorrow and day 3 and those college free agents. We're going to find good players that are going to make a difference on the grass every day we work this weekend.
I mean, Tony, when you talk about good players, obviously James Gladstone come from L.A. You're talking about Puka Nacua, who is their go-to guy now, found later in the rounds. What do you attribute that to? Like, what goes into that process of saying, okay, we have a guy here in the 4th, 5th, 6th round that no one's really giving a lot of attention to, but we like him? Is it an analytical thing? Is it more of just how the interview went? Like,
we're not going to give anything away.
Okay. Yeah.
My guess is I wouldn't lean on the interview portion of it.
Yeah.
We didn't do 130 visit. I thought the best line up in Green Bay Tet from Arizona that asked if
Yeah.
he talked to Jacksonville. He says, no, nobody has. And so we have a process.
Yeah,
We understand what we're looking for. That is led by James.
Yeah.
He has a track record of doing it. I believe last year, by the end of the year, I think they had 2 free agents, rookie free agents, or guys who came through the college undrafted process, starting at linebacker. We think there's good football players out there, guys who are going to help us. So while tonight's the showcase event, we're looking forward to the whole weekend. We think we're going to add a lot of good football players onto this team.
Go pick them. Go find
So
them.
I got a question for you guys.
Oh.
What do you got?
Who would you guys pick?
Okay, so I'm compiling everything that put together.
No, don't worry about us. I'm talking
All
about
this-
you. Who does Brent Martineau
Slow playing
want?
it, man.
Who does Brent Martineau want?
Well, I
in the
want you to go-
Jaguars jersey.
I want you to go trade up with Cleveland and get Travis
So
Hunter.
you want Travis Hunter?
But realistically, if that's a lot to give up, I'm going with Genty or McMillan. We need another piece on the offense to make defensive coordinators have sleepless nights on Saturday night before a Sunday game with Trevor Lawrence in this offense.
Yeah, I think what we would say to that is you need guys who can score touchdowns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to score points.
Yeah.
You got to score points in this league today. Austin?
I think if you use the verbiage intangibly rich, to me that means production. So on the offensive side of the ball, I look at production. I mean, I don't think Travis Hunter is going to be there, so go ahead and give me Ashton Genty. On the defensive side of the ball, even though he doesn't have a lot of quarterback sacks to back it up, Mason Graham was the number one, the most productive defensive tackle.
Great player.
In all of college football. So I'm going to go Genty. If it's not Genty, then give me Mason Graham.
Yeah, Mason Graham's a fun guy to watch on tape.
Yeah,
he
he is.
spent a lot of
Yes.
time, and his ability to use his hands.
Yeah.
Undersized a little bit,
Yep.
you would say, but his strength, his leverage, and his ability to get off blocks and find the ball is pretty impressive. He's a really good football player.
And Tony, watching tackles, obviously, like you do as well, isn't there just something to be said about guys who are former wrestlers, who are
absolutely.
high-level wrestlers who just have that contact
Well,
balance,
listen, I don't want
whether it's offense
to
or defense?
mess with you right now.
Oh, no, yeah.
But I'll say this: one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life in sports was wrestling in junior high.
Yeah.
It is brutal.
It is brutal.
And it forces you to use your entire body and use another man's leverage against themselves and move them. And I think wrestlers, especially when you talk about those offense and defensive linemen,
It's that mindset.
it's a mindset. You better be tough. You better be, if you're a wrestler, you better be tough. And that is not a sport for the faint of heart.
I'm never going to get you back on if I don't let you go. So quick answer.
Yeah.
Chaotic night or it goes pretty normal. What's the league think? Not just you, but what's the league? What's the temperature on how crazy this draft is going to be?
I think everyone is, there's so much noise out there about teams wanting to move up, but nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty quiet. And I think part of that's because is there a player that is worth giving up a bunch of picks to come up early?
Sure.
It's a deep draft. I mean, I think there's a lot of good players from, call it 12 to 15, all the way probably to 80, 90. I mean, there's really good football players in this draft. And so someone willing to give up that capital, come up there and get somebody. But sometimes it's the calm before the storm, so it might be bumpy. It might be bumpy waters out there tonight.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Listen, I can't wait.
Awesome.
I think it's just going to be fun. I can't wait till the gun goes off and Tennessee's on the clock. Let's go.
I love the energy, man. Good
Or
luck
as
tonight.
James says, game on.
Game
Game on,
man. Thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Executive Vice
Appreciate
President
it.
of
Good to see you,
Jacksonville
man.
Jaguars. That's Tony Boselli. Good luck tonight.